Today I'm going to be showing everybody how to install a double button Holeshot device from Tamer onto a KTM 250F, and this will fit all Husky gas KTM 125cc and up bikes, and it's the same installation process. So let's go ahead and get right into unpackaging it. So you're going to see this number right here on the ring. You want to verify on tamermx.com that that is the right number or part number for the ring. In this case it is an 18. You also want to verify that this middle screw is going to be in the button. It needs to be in there. There's going to be one X-wing in there as well. And then you're going to find 4 of these smaller base screws right here. And these are what will hold it to the fork guard. And then you should also find a drill template in there that we provide for you, a Tamer sticker, and a QR code to get to the instructions. If you're missing any of these things, feel free to contact us. You can find our contact information at tamermx.com. We are more than happy to help you out and send you a free one if we've made a mistake on that end. So going on to what we're going to do first. So first we're going to be installing the ring on the bike. So we're going to take that ring out. Now, when you stretch this around the fork, so we don't have to take the fork off for the Tamer ring. We made it easy on you guys. You don't have to take that front wheel off. You don't have to take that fork off. You don't have to go through all that. What you want to do is you don't want to just spread it completely open. You basically want to push it around the smallest part of the tube up top and just kind of let it spring around your fork tube. And then you're going to go ahead and tighten it. And this is going to be about 45 inch-pounds of force is what you're going to want to torque this to. You're not going to tighten it all the way because you're going to need to move it eventually, but putting the ring on first makes it a lot easier to measure where you want the bike, where you want the device at. So a lot of questions we always get is, how low should I put my device? So we do something different here at Tamer. We take into account the rider's sag, the rider's weight, their suspension settings, everything. So what we do is we have the rider sit like they're doing a start. They're in a starting position. We have them pulling the front brake, and then we just pull the front end down a few times and just kind of let it come up slowly to a rest. And what that does is it actually takes the sag out of it. So I'm not pulling down anymore, but I'm just letting it come up. And then on the fork guard, I might mark where the top of the ring is on the fork. So place a little mark right there. And then as you can see, as he's sitting in the resting position, you can tell how much higher that is. So a lot of other companies, they tell you, go down 60 millimeters, go down 70 millimeters if you're this weight. Well, you might have stiff suspension, you might have soft suspension. You might be a heavy guy that likes soft suspension, you might be a light guy that likes stiff suspension. So we really encompass taking care of all that for you and take all that guessing work out of there so you get it low enough. A lot of the other starting device companies are never low enough on that. So the KTM is kind of unique. You can kind of see right here how the fork guard wraps around. So what that actually does, even when there is no Holeshot device on it, it rubs on the back of the fork and it just tears up the fork guard, tears up the fork. It doesn't look nice after you rode it for a while. So what we do, so it doesn't catch anything, so we're just going to go ahead and draw a straight line down here. As straight as we can get it anyways. And then after we have that done, we can go ahead and grab our hacksaw blade. And we're just going to simply make a cut straight down the side of it there, just to cut off that wraparound part. You don't need to take off too much of the fork guard. If you look at it and you think you can take off less without it rubbing, that's okay as well. I would not take off more than this, so the fork guard's still obviously around the fork, but you're just going to cut straight down. You're going to take this little piece off here. Just get rid of that. And then once we have that off, you can kind of see how the plastic's all chewed up on it right there. Got a lot of plastic shavings. We're going to take our deburring tool, which can be found in the install kit at tamermx.com. And we're just going to deburr this edge right here, and then we're also going to deburr the inside edge of the fork guard as well. And that just cleans it up, makes it look nicer, smooths it out so that you don't have any plastic shavings still on there. and everything is working smoothly. So we're going to go ahead and set this fork guard down here now. And we're going to move on to the tools that you need. So we're going to need a 5 32/2" drill bit. It's going to be for drilling the screw holes. You're going to need a 1/2" chamfer bit. This can also be found at tamermx.com in the install kit. It's a great kit to have. Tools last forever. You're going to need some sort of writing device like a Sharpie or something, just different color than your fork guard. You're going to need some strong masking tape. We recommend not using like painter's tape. Painter's tape doesn't stick as well. You're going to need red Loc-Tite, and you're going to need a power drill. And then we can go ahead and get started moving forward with this. So you see where we made the line. That's where the top of the ring came down to. So what we're going to do is we're just going to move that mark to the center. So grab our Sharpie here. We're just going to move that to the center. This just makes it easier for us. You can measure it from the side. It just makes it a lot quicker, a lot easier to line up because you want that double button to be straight. One thing that's nice about the Tamer double button and ring is we're the only Holeshot device company out there that has a large ring groove. Unlike a lot of the other brands that try to compete with us, you have to have it perfectly lined up. You never have to have ours perfectly lined up. So we make it really easy on you guys. So we're going to measure down from this mark that we made here, and we're going to go down 1.5 inches. Just going to place a mark directly in the center still. Keeping it at 1.5 inches. Right there. And this is where we measure down. This is where the first button is going to go, the first buttonhole. So we're going to take our provided template, and we're actually going to bend it. So you don't just bend the little tabs on the side. You're going to kind of try to bend the entire thing a little bit. And see, it's got that more curvature to it. And that's just going to fit the curvature of the fork guard because fork guards are round. And it just makes it easier for all the holes to line up, and it's how it's supposed to be. So we're going to grab one piece of horizontal tape here, and we're going to put that one on first. And this one doesn't need to be as long, but use as much tape as you think you need. The more secure, the better it lines up. So we're going to place that directly over the center, straight over the X-wing screws like that. And now we're just going to we're going to try and get this template centered on the fork guard and straight up and down on the fork guard. And we're going to line up that top buttonhole right there with the center of that mark that we made 1.5 inches down. And one thing that's nice is you'll notice that we don't go a certain length down from the top of the fork guard. Every other company that tells you to go down a certain length, everybody's going to have their device in the same spot. We personalize each setting for you. We've gone through an extensive process of testing and finding how far down is the best distance to go down for each rider, and this is the best formula we've come up with, and it seems to be the most consistent out of anything. We know people that do still go lower than this, but we recommend that this is the highest you go. So once we apply that vertical tape on there, we're going to go ahead and grab our 5 32/2" drill bit. We're just going to drill out all 5 of these holes. Doesn't matter what order you do them in, just making sure you're going through all the way through the plastic. Make sure you got that drill bit secured in there. And then we're going to drill 2 pilot holes. So you're going to try to find as center of the buttonholes as you can. And you're just going to drill those 2 pilot holes. That helps the deburring bit that we're going to use here shortly line up way easier and really gets the template on center of where it needs to be, and so everything lines up perfectly. So we're going to grab a Phillips head screwdriver, and we're just going to take 3 screws. So first we're going to take this middle one out here just so we don't lose it, just so we know we don't forget about it. So we're going to put that one in first, and we're actually going to put these in the top of the fork guard. So what this is going to do is while these screws are in, when we go back through with our 1/2 inch deburring bit, it's going to want to move, and the tape isn't going to be able to hold that template on there. So what will happen is we put these screws in here so that it doesn't walk on us and the template stays secured. So we're going to grab our 1/2 inch chamfer bit. This is also in the install kit on tamermx.com. And we're just going to drill straight through. Make sure it's lined up, and just kind of let the template guide you in. Get it out of there. Go through the bottom hole, and then now you're good to go. So what we're going to do is you have to take the template off. We've seen some people in the past that they think the template goes on the back of the fork guard, or they try to leave the template on, and we don't want to see that. We don't want to see anything sticking out the back of the fork guard. A lot of other companies, they use washers, and what that does is it actually makes the device fall off more often. They only have 2 contact points versus our 5. We have 5 holes contacting it from the back, so we don't need those washers. And all those washers end up doing is actually scraping your fork up, scraping your ring up. It's motocross, a lot of things happen, so there's a lot of things to get caught. And when something gets caught back there, it's usually pretty bad. You rip a fork guard off, you lose a $140 button, and you're like, well, great, now I got to go buy another one. So we try to make it as secure as possible for you. So for this next one, you're going to use the 1/2-inch chamfer bit again, and you're going to put it on the lowest setting, and you're just going to press the trigger like 3 or 4 times, barely pressing in. You're just trying to get a little cup in the plastic. You don't want to go all the way through. You just want to get that little cup in the plastic there. You can always take more plastic away, but you can never add more plastic. So make sure you go light at first. Try not to push hard. And we're going to show you here after a little bit. You can see right there, they're like little bowl shaped down in there. It's just nice and cupped out. That's for the screw to fit in there, because the screw is kind of like it's kind of cupped at the top. So you're going to make sure that those actually sit flush into the plastic. So we're going to go ahead and put our red Loctite on all the screws. Make sure you apply this to all the threads. We're going to put our X-wing on. It just fits right on. We're going to connect our button right there, and then we're going to start with the middle screw. So you'll notice the middle screw is going to be longer than the rest of the other 4 screws. So that one has to go in the center. So that one will go right there, then we'll put the top one in next, and then we're going to go to the bottom one after that. And then once those 3 are in, we can move to the 2 side ones on the X-wing. And these don't go in at a perfect angle. They kind of go in a little bit straight, so you can kind of see I work it in there and then push it in. And we're just tightening those very loose, and now we can go ahead and snug them all the way. Now you want to make sure the back is smooth. You want nothing rubbing back there. When you look down it, you shouldn't see anything but straight plastic. See how no screws are sticking up, no buttons sticking out, nothing like that. And then you're just going to give it some test runs. You're going to look at the back. You're going to make sure there's plenty of clearance for that button to come all the way through. And once you've done that, you've successfully installed a Tamer double button Holeshot device.